In the series of the prophetic etiquettes and manners, we will learn about Babu يحسى في وجوه المداحين. What the Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, said concerning exaggerating in praising somebody, and what should we do? What shall we do in this case of throwing dust in the faces who exaggerate in the praises? The first hadith we have in today's edition is hadith number 339, which is narrated by Abu Ma'mar عن أبي معمر قال قام رجل يثني على أمير من الأمراء فجعل المقداد يحثي في وجهه التراب وقال أمرنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن نحثي في وجوه المداحين التراب. We have learned before this incident happened in the presence of Uthman ibn Affan radiyallahu anhu, but let's learn the meaning of this narration first. Abu Ma'mar radiyallahu anhu narrated that once a man started to praise one of the emirs. That happened in the presence of the companion Al-Miqdad. So Al-Miqdad got up and he started throwing dust in his face. And he said, the Messenger of Allah, may Allah's peace and salutations be upon him, commanded us to throw dust into the faces of those who praise people. I would rather make it who exaggerate in praising people. Obviously, in the last episode as well, last week, we have learned that mild, moderate praises and admiration, there is nothing wrong with that. And even the Prophet ﷺ praised many of his companions. And he was being praised by many poets such as Hassan ibn Thabit and others. And the Prophet ﷺ didn't mind. The problem is in two conditions. Number one, in case that there is a fear that you spoil, you ruin the intention of the person whom you praise. Especially when you speak about his ibadah, his sincerity, which is something obviously between the servant and the Almighty, the Creator. So no one should come in between. You don't know the intention of anyone. There are many ahadith talking about how some people who even die as martyrs, as shuhada, on the Day of Judgment, they will be introduced to hellfire. Why? Because they never intended to fight for the sake of Allah. They wanted to be praised. They wanted to be admired. They wanted to be recognized. So the Almighty Allah will confront them with the reality of their hidden intentions. And then He will say, you got what you wanted. Go ahead and collect now your reward from those who you wanted them to praise you, admire you, recognize you. Then He will order them to be thrown in hellfire. Same with generous people who donated millions of dollars in order to be recognized, to be mentioned as generous people. Likewise, with a speaker, alim, public speaker, khatib al-Jumu'ah, or a reciter of the Quran, Allah the Almighty bless them with the memory of memorizing the Quran with the different dialects, with the melodious voice, so he recites Quran, subhanallah, as it was revealed. But inside here isn't clean, isn't pure. He's doing this for wages. And if he doesn't get paid what the people say, I'm not praying. I'm not leading the prayer. 10K, 20K per night of Ramadan. What kind of Quran is this? What kind of reciter is this? And a person who may prolong the mad, instead of 6, make them 12. Why? In order to suit the song. It's not a Quran anymore. It's a song that he's singing. Be careful. So because of that, we don't admire the acts of worship of a person, or a person because of his sincerity or how much he worships. It's okay to admire his manners, his akhlaq, his generosity. Also be moderate, be careful, because that may ruin the intention of the person. May Allah guide us what is best. So Al-Miqdad, may Allah be pleased with him, took it literally. And when this guy was going on and on in praising one of the emirs in his face, He picked up some dust and he got up and he threw it in his face and said, "This is how we were commanded to do." Obviously, the Emir was quiet after he learned that this is what the Prophet ﷺ said. You know, there are some people whom we can call parasites. Those parasites, they live on earning some tips from here and there, grants from here and there, so admiring people. You know what the Almighty Allah said in an entire chapter which is known as Ash-Shu'ara? وَالشُّعَرَاءُ يَتَّبِعُهُمُ الْغَاوُونَ إِلَّا. So, vast majority of the poets, those who admire the princes, the leaders, the kings, the presidents, for wages to be rewarded, to the extent that even in our recent times, they admire some rulers, and it's such an awful way they use. They admire them by giving them some of the traits of the Almighty. We spoke about somebody who was admiring the king when he was given khutbatul Jum'ah and what happened to him afterward. When one of the true Muslim scholars said, "You guys should repeat your prayer because this Imam has abandoned Islam. He's not a Muslim anymore. His salah and the Jama'ah is invalid." Still be careful. Now, somebody is asking me about a neighbor. His son is proposing to his daughter. What do you think of him? I know him. He's my buddy. He comes to the masjid. I see him Fajr, Maghrib, Isha. He's a hard worker. MashaAllah. And whenever he is walking in the street, he lowers his gaze. He doesn't look at women. I never heard him saying a bad word. So when I admire him for that and I recommend him, is there anything wrong with that? Nope. I'm giving an honest testimony. Likewise, when we say that this phrase is condemnation, I'm not trying to discredit somebody. I'm not backbiting him. But I figured that unfortunately, he is proposing to a girl. The girl is super nice. Her family are very righteous. They don't know that this person is a wolf in the skin of sheep. So you be careful. I have to tell them the truth. There is no backbiting here. I'm giving the right testimony though.